Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Jonathan Freedman in the studio, and our next guest up, as we like to have on Radio Entrepreneurs, a serial entrepreneur, Kevin Lavelle, co-founder and CEO of Harbor. Welcome to Radio Entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much. Very glad to be here, and always a great opportunity to share our story. Appreciate it.
So love having not only first-time entrepreneurs, but serial entrepreneurs. This is not your first rodeo, so to speak, a guy from Texas, using that little analogy. But tell us a little bit about your current company, Harbor, and what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I started Harbor because the leading baby monitor product on the market failed on my family and left my son unmonitored overnight. So what we've built is the best possible system for parents to restore their sleep and sanity. We have a camera and a 10-inch tablet that connect directly to each other without internet, but both devices also connect to the internet. So you have a dedicated local fail-safe device that doesn't rely on the internet or your Wi-Fi, but you also get the benefits of remote access and record and rewind. So it's the best possible system for parents. I built it out of necessity because of that very scary moment with our family. And then we're using it as a platform to build a remote night nanny platform. We ultimately democratizing access to sleep expertise, bringing all night eyes-on expertise and guidance for just $20 a night. If you are a parent interested in trying to help get healthier sleep for yourself and your child, your current options are do your best alone or hire someone to come into your house. And in a place like Dallas, it's about $400 a night. We'll be able to bring that down to about $20 a night to get all night eyes-on expertise because of the very sophisticated hardware and software that we have built. So look forward to sharing more about it. But Harbor.co, we are in pre-sales at the end of May. We've sold out of our first allocation of products, so we're looking to get people to reserve their spot in line for our second allocation.
Fantastic. So as I talked about early on in the segment, this is not your first time going down this path. So having been a founder of an organization in the past, you were in the apparel industry, correct?
Yes, launched Mizzen in Maine about almost 12 years ago.
And so what brought you back to your entrepreneurial roots and the desire to create a second go of a new startup company? Is it the excitement of the launch? Is it solving a problem in the marketplace that you experienced or saw for yourself and you see that there's an opportunity? What are some of the lessons that you've learned or reasons why?
So Abraham Maslow is famous for many things, but one of the things that I most admire in his teachings is what one can be, one must be. And as I look back in my history and my path to getting here, I never envisioned myself as an entrepreneur growing up, but I was always somebody that wanted to solve problems, push back against the status quo. I would argue with my math teacher why this one question phrased this one way, I actually answered it correctly. And instead of a 95, I should have a 97. That was my kind of very obsessive personality from the very beginning. And so I didn't envision myself to be an entrepreneur, but after working for a few years in the corporate world with great folks and learned a lot, I learned that most people and most businesses have no idea what they're doing. And so this crazy idea that I had for a performance fabric dress shirt back in, many years ago, I should give it a shot. And in building Mizzen in Maine, I learned so much, but every single thing that I did was the first time that I'd ever done it. I'd never interviewed anybody, let alone hired them or run a P&L. And so it was a steep learning curve for several years. And so with that background, with Harbor, I have wanted to build this company since the leading product on the market, it's called Nanit. It failed on my family. And I couldn't believe that there wasn't a better product on the market. And as I continued to study and learn and talk to other parents, I just had this incessant nagging, I have to solve this problem because I know that I can solve it. And I know that I can build a company and a brand because I've done it once before. And I have to be the one to go do this. And as I've learned along the way, investing in hardware and investing in consumer, those are two very, very difficult categories. And so there's just really not a lot of investment. And one of my superpowers is creating belief in others in the idea that I want to bring to life. And so that's what I've spent the last couple of years doing. I found an incredible co-founder, a guy named Charlie Hill, also a parent who's been leading on the product side. And we've had a lot of great beta testers and a lot of incredible results with the pilot families that we've worked with. And it's proving to me this was the right choice to go down this path again.
So tell us a little bit about the journey from conception, that night that you were in, cold sweat running up the stairs to check on your son, to
Yep.
developing a beta product. What was that
Sure.
time frame like? Again, you come out of consumer, but you don't necessarily come out of hardware development. So,
Right.
your path towards founding your co-founder with some of the skill sets that you were looking for, and how you guys
Yeah.
came together. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so there are a lot of similarities and a lot of very substantial differences between the lead up to Mizzen and Main and Harbor. And the first was a significant period of doubt of could this thing even be made? And so with Mizzen and Main, I had to find the fabric, I had to figure out how to make a shirt. And that was a very long, drawn out journey because I had absolutely no idea how to find that. And so what I did differently this time with Harbor and starting it was the idea came out of my own experience of the leading product failing on our family. And so we went out and built a parallel system. So we went out and bought an old school monitor and camera that only works locally, but it's dedicated and fail safe. And then we kept a Wi-Fi system because we wanted to be able to check in on the nanny, check in on the babysitter. And with those dedicated local systems, you can't rewind. So if you need to look back an hour earlier or you hear a loud bang and you want to rewind and find out what it was, you can't do that. There was a lot of iteration and ideation and talking to as many parents as I could along the way. With Mizzen and Main, I was really scared someone was going to take my idea. And then I learned it just generally doesn't happen. And you're not the only person with the idea. Plenty of other people have thought about it. Just no one is doing it. And so a lot of research and a lot of talking to people. And then when I decided to jump, all in on building this product, I spent about 6 months talking to experts in and around the space as possible. And the first thing I had to solve was, I know somehow this could be done, but I went and started talking to mechanical and electrical engineers that may or may not have worked on camera products, but understood how radios and Wi-Fi signals and all of those things worked. And then I answered the question, yes, it can be built. So then the next question was, I am not the person to do this. So who's going to do it with me? Because I'm not the technical guy or girl. And through meeting a lot of people, it actually ended up coming from a very close direct connection. One of my best friends worked alongside my co-founder. And he said, this is the guy. He's a dad. He has an electrical engineering background. He was an Army helicopter pilot. And he's an IoT chief product officer. So that's what you're looking for. So Charlie and I met, and we both are parents. And Charlie had experience at a startup that was acquired, and he was ready to start his own thing. So it was just a perfect match made in heaven. And along that journey, I collected some advisors, some informal that I could just ask for a little bit of advice, and then some where I started paying them, and others where I gave them some equity in, a promise to give equity once I actually started the company, so that I could short circuit some of the biggest hurdles to launching something so complex like what Harbor now is. And then the last piece that kind of is relevant to how did we get to the first prototype was assessing the internal components that were the kind of long tent poles in what we needed to do. So we had to solve the chips. And if you don't get the right chip for the device, nothing else matters. And it's what you build everything else around. And so there was a lot of, frankly, selling myself and Charlie and the vision so that one of these chip manufacturers would agree to work with us, because most chip manufacturers don't work with very small companies, and there's a lot of roadblocks.
They won't scale.
Yeah, and that ultimately led to who could make the product, because the chip manufacturers only work with certain ODMs or CMs, and sort of navigating that process of who do we want to have make the product. And in that journey, we were able to get a prototype in fall of 2022, kind of right away, an off-the-shelf prototype that allowed us to rapidly iterate and understand more of what we actually wanted to then go build ourselves.
Fantastic. Well, you've taken what I'm sure was a long and arduous journey and compressed it into a couple of minutes. Tell us a little bit about where the company is now. You've launched your prototypes. You're now to market with existing product or soon to launch.
Very, very close.
Yep. And then everything becomes live as of a certain date, and folks can purchase product direct from you, or they be available in other channels. Or what's the
So what we've done What we've done over the last 18 months is use, well, one of our kind of core values is we drink our own champagne. The other way that we say that is we eat our own dog food. So our team have been using our prototypes since day one with their own children. And so we have been learning all along the way. We had our own experiences with faulty products and lackluster products, and then we've been using our prototypes with our own families. Then we started recruiting external testers, people who have some experience and background in software so that they could give us experience share along the way for, hey, I think it should be doing this, or I tried this and this was the failure point, so that we could continue to iterate lots and lots of rapid deployments of the product. And then across 2023, we actually recruited families to participate in our remote night nanny trials. So the first families to undergo this process of, I've got a professionally trained night nurse here in Dallas, and she is watching someone's child in another state and then alerting them remotely. And we built out that system over time. The results that we got from those trials gave us all the confirmation that we needed, right? It's one of those things where you say, I think people would like this, but some people, when you describe it to, they go, absolutely, sign me up, can't wait. And others go, I'm not so sure about that. Like, I'm going to let some other people try that. And so we needed to demonstrate that this idea could work. And we did so over the last, really the last 18 months. So we launched our waitlist in February of 2024. And that was, to build up some semblance of, okay, people actually do want this product. You have to pay to reserve a spot on the wait list. And we've got many hundreds of people on the wait list. We sold out of our first allocation in like 24 hours. And now we move into our pre-sale at the end of May. Our first 100 customers will get their product in June. And then our next thousands of customers will get their product late summer. And so our hope is that people will sign up to reserve that spot, because we continue to sell out of shipment allocations, and people can reserve their spot by actually either waitlist or converting into the pre-sale at the end of May. And we've got some really exciting things planned with, we're talking about some free trials of our remote night nanny product to get people to experience the transformative power of the gift of sleep. And we will just continue to grow as much as we can. And what we see is 3.6 million children are born in the United States every year, and that's just the United States. And every single one of those children need to be monitored in some way, shape, or form. And so while it's a challenge because you constantly have people leaving the market, we think that we can create a great relationship with our customers over many years, because we will expand into additional areas of telehealth over the years ahead.
Fantastic. Great story, Kevin. Wish you continued success. As I said to you, I think there's a product extension opportunity for parents of kids in college and parents of kids, adult kids. Once a parent, always a parent, as my folks said to me, your sleep will always be deprived. Kevin Lavelle, co-founder and CEO of Harbor. If people want to get in touch, people want to go to the website, people want to pre-reserve, what's the best way for them to observe, to engage, and to be involved?
Yeah, thank you. So our mission is happier parents and healthier families, one restful night at a time. So we encourage parents, go to harbor.co. We have a very comprehensive sleep guide for infants. So if you're about to have a child or you have one and you need some help, we've got a really robust sleep guide. We also have a toddler sleep guide for those difficult sleep transitions, all free. We've got a bunch of great resources on our website, because if we can help parents get sleep, we're doing our job. And then obviously at harbor.co, people can sign up for the waitlist. They can go to our social, they can email us. We're happy to answer questions. We've got a great director of nursing who's a decade of experience as an RN there to answer questions. People can reach out to me. I'm on X at Kevin S. Lavelle. And also you can find me on LinkedIn. Try and share some aspects of my journey along the way and answer questions and try to be helpful where I can. I had some great entrepreneurs and investors give me amazing guidance and advice along the way. So if I can be helpful to anyone, happy to try to if I can.
Kevin, it's been a real pleasure. Kevin Lavelle, co-founder and CEO of Harbor. Wish you continued success, and look forward to hearing an update in the near future.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. All the best.
Excellent. And we'll be right back with another segment on Radio Entrepreneurs.